it's a journey that's been fascinating, and I look back sometimes and I go, wow, did I do all of that?
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Growth and Scaling Podcast. I'm your host, Todd Westra, and today you are going to be blessed with an awesome interview from a woman who has not only grown and scaled multiple businesses with multiple successful exits, but also done it with a partner. Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, today's episode was a bit of therapy for me. I don't currently have a business partner, but I did have a business partner for the first 10 years of my professional life, and it was amazing. I love my partner. We had some great ups and some interesting downs and some interesting sidewayses, but I think that's typical in almost any partnership. Today's episode was therapy because she, after having these successful builds and exits with a partner, she is now running an entire organization that is designed around helping business founders who are partners to develop stronger partnerships, develop better exit strategies, develop all these awesome things that partners need to think about when they go into business together. How should you structure? How should you design your exit? Who does what in the company? All those kinds of questions that we all think about but never really talk about. This is what she does. If you are in a partnership, or you have partners, or you've considered bringing on a partner, you gotta listen to this episode. It's fantastic, phenomenal. And Tanis is just an amazing person. You're gonna love this. I'll see you on the flip side of this interview, but please, in the notes or in the comments below, I would love to know, do you have a partner? Are you considering having a business partner? Have you had a great experience or a horrible experience? I want to know. Share it below, and let's see if we can help each other through this therapy session of business partnerships. Thanks so much for being here, and I look forward to catching up with you on the flip side of this interview. Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Growth and Scaling Podcast. Today, this could go so many different directions. I'm actually just going to let it go because I am so excited for today's guest. She's a living legend in my eyes because she has had successful co-founder relationships. She's exited successfully. This is just one of those fun conversations that's going to inspire you. So I'm going to introduce Tanis Jorge. Tell us who you are and what do you do?
Oh my goodness, that's a big thing. I'm Tanis. I am the founder. I'm the founder of the Co-Founders Hub. Geez, I don't know. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I advise co-founders in building strong partnerships. And I'm a mom, 2 kids.
Awesome.
Celebrating 25 years this year with my husband. So, yeah.
Awesome.
All the titles.
That's exciting. Wife, mom, and co-founder,
yes,
and successful exiter,
yes,
of businesses. Those are huge roles and titles.
Yeah, it's a journey that's been fascinating, and I look back sometimes and I go, wow, did I do all of that? That seems like a lot, but I was very fortunate. Loved the journey through it all, so it was good.
I love it. Now, Tanis, well, I want to start by just kind of giving people a little backstory into you, and we've just barely met, but it's inspiring already because a lot of founders listening to the show are beyond the launch phase of their business. They're kind of in that awkward phase of, okay, what do I do now? And growth and scaling is a whole different cycle of business that most people don't talk a lot about. And so I want to kind of dive into that with you because you've been able to grow and scale, launch, grow, scale, exit, and then now you're coaching people how to launch with partners, how to deal with partners. There's a lot of things we can unpackage here, but let's start with your last launch, growth, scale, and then we'll get into the whole partner dynamic and all that other stuff. Can you walk us through some of that?
Absolutely. So I'll give you a little even further back, just slightly, just for some background. So I met my co-founder, Stephen, in high school. So we shared lockers together.
Shut up.
Yeah,
That's
from
awesome.
grade 8 to grade 12, we were beside each other in lockers because our last names were in alphabetical order. And we just forged an incredible friendship. And outside of high school, he approached me with an idea and said, "Listen, I have an idea for a business. Would you want to do it with me?" And honestly, the idea was not that interesting to me, but the idea of doing something with him again and having that experience together was really what made me want to jump into it. And little did I know that over the next 10 years, we would successfully build and exit 3 companies together, and eventually lead into launching our 4th company together, which was Truly You, which we started in 2011. And so awesome. In our previous businesses, we went from ideation, and we basically were acquired, each company 3 years in. We pretty much early stage launched, revenue positive, but launched at those points. But we never really grew the businesses, too large. We were kind of building them for acquisition. And
awesome.
We were very successful in that, and that was great. But then when we were done that, we said, okay, this next business, this might be something that we actually want to take long term. And wow. We had this idea of, let's stay, let's go into it. And so Stephen headed down to the Silicon Valley, and we began research and just delving into the tech world there. And we raised money, and off we went. So it was a very different journey from our previous ones.
That's completely different.
Yeah, but it was something that we were excited for. It was one of those things where you jump in not knowing what will come out on the other side. And we were heading into an industry that was very innovative, very disruptive. No one had done it before. And so we had no game plan besides just one foot in front of the other. So that was what was really exciting as well, is to not know what the future holds, but try anyways.
I love it. Now I'm gonna stop this journey right now, because you've said some things that are like completely untalked about in most business relationships or most startup founders. They really don't think about it. Your first 3, you intentionally built them to sell.
Yes.
Right?
That's right.
The 4th one, you intentionally designed it around let's play and hold this one for a little while.
That's right.
I would venture to say that the vast majority of business founders out there never think about their exit.
No, and it is actually one of the first sets of advice that I give someone who's contemplating starting a business. I have a sort of a set amount of advice that I hand out, and one of them is plan your exit now, because if you do that, you would be surprised if you have an acquirer in mind or a number in mind. You make very, very different decisions. If you are going to sell your company to a particular business, then you know that you want to adapt it in a way that works for them, because then it becomes valuable and they can easily shift it into their model. And so that is an extremely important part of it. And so I always tell founders, have your exit in mind at any point. If you haven't talked about it yet, do it now. And
do it now.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's really funny you say that, because, I've got 7 kids, and when people always ask me, oh, are you going to hand your business off to your kids? I'm like, never. Like, that is so not part of my plan. And I've told my kids, I'm like, look, entrepreneurship is not for everybody, first of all. But I've never made my kids a part of my exit strategy, nor do I ever plan to. And some people do, and that's okay. But you're going to run your business different if that's your plan. Yes. To your point, I love what you just said. You will shape the business around who you want to acquire you, potentially, or is there a magic number that you have in mind? Like, what kind of revenue do you have to show to get to that number? you are a brilliant example of having done that 3 times with the same co-founder. I'm blown away. Must have been a really good locker buddy.
Yeah, and it's funny because it wasn't until I was in the phase where I'm at now, when I was researching for the book and doing stuff, that it forced me to actually go, why did we succeed together? Why was it that we were able to? Because we just did it, and it actually took a lot of introspection and a lot of reflection on what were the things that actually helped us to succeed, and when we struggled, why did we struggle in those ways? And so we were lucky.
Well, it's interesting because a lot of that just has to do with alignment, right? And when a lot of people are overusing this word right now, but alignment with your partner is, in marriage or in business or whatever, when you're both going to the same goal, it's just awesome. And when you haven't verbalized the goal, gosh, you got 2 different ideas going on in 2 different brains, and you may be going totally different directions.
I give this analogy. Imagine if 2 people are standing at the steering wheel or the helm of a ship, and they're both holding onto the steering wheel. If you both aren't planning going due north, then one's going to sort of tug a little this way, one's going to tug a little that way, and the boat will it won't be effective. So it is so essential that the founders are perfectly aligned so they can hold that steering wheel together and go exactly where they need to go. It's really important.
Right. Now I've got another personal question here. Like in that decision making of, hey, we want to turn and flip this one. We want to turn and flip with this one. We want to hold a little bit longer. Why was that? What was the reasoning behind this one being a little more special? Was it the size of the potential exit, or what was kind of going on through your head?
Yeah, that's a great question, because there was something very different. After 10 years of building companies, I decided I wanted to start a family. And so for me, it was, okay, I gave up my 20s. Now I want this to go into this phase of my life. And so that was actually our plan. At the end of it, we actually kind of shook hands and said, hey, that was great. See you later. We did our thing. Yeah. And then Steve said to me, we have this other idea, and I want to go to the Valley. I want to experience what is happening down there. And I said, great, you go. I'll just sort of support a little bit with on the financial side, but you go. And again, little did I realize that, I always joke that entrepreneurship's like the mafia. Just when you think you're out, it sucks you back in.
Oh, it's horrible. It's a horrible thing.
It's addiction. And so, we managed to raise money, and it was like, okay, this is a different business now. This is something, our life stages are different. If we're really going to do this, then this is going to be something that's a little more long-term. And so did you raise money for the first 3, or did you bootstrap, or did you? We bootstrapped, and then with the exits, obviously, we just rolled some of the funding into the next idea. But we did bootstrap most of it ourselves. Family and friends helped us out in the very beginning stages. It was Stephen's parents were very helpful with their network, and their friends actually really invested in us in the first business. But once that one was sold, we were able to bootstrap the following ones.
Hey there, friends. Todd Westra here. I want to thank you so much for listening to this episode, but I also want to take just a few seconds to let you know about a project that we've been putting together for the last several months, and we're finally launching it, called the Captain's Council. You see, as a CEO or operator of a business, it can feel like you get stuck in your own head a lot of the time. You get challenges that you don't know how to resolve. You get people causing problems in your leadership team that you don't know how to resolve. And it's so hard to overcome those things by yourself. You don't have to anymore. Join the Captain's Council. Captain's Council is a group of other CEOs and operators and owners of businesses where we come together once a month for several hours to discuss the biggest challenges you're facing. You express to the council of 8 to 10 people about what's going on. Where do you feel stuck? And these other people are in the same boat as you. They're running and operating their own businesses. They're your peers. They help you kind of dissect what's happening and help you see things that you may not have seen all by yourself. If you don't have a good, strong network of people around you, come join the Captain's Council. This is going to be something that will change the way you run your business and open your eyes to opportunities that you have never seen without the help of your peer group. Come check it out, captainscouncil.com. Awesome. Yeah. That's exciting. No, that's really cool. I love and appreciate bootstrappers. Sometimes we're not so smart. We think we're being smart and we end up leveraging like our kids' college and like, maybe a home along the way. But it is fun. You don't have to report to anybody.
That's it. And honestly, I think you obviously, like anything, you treat something different when you are putting your own capital in, and it becomes a very different experience. And obviously you feel really proud when you were able to say, I believe in myself enough and I took these risks and I succeeded, and that's a great feeling at the end of it.
I love it. Now you're in the business of the Co-Founder Hub.
Yes.
And tell me about that. What is it you're doing? How are you what are you doing and how do you monetize it? Who's your avatar? Like, what are you going for with this?
Yeah. So when I again, a little background, when we started Truly You, I was in the day-to-day as the COO for 6 years. And then after that, I decided that I really wanted to be able to be home with my family and with my kids. And so I was able to exit out and find a replacement for me to get out of the day-to-day.
Cool.
And so when I did that, I thought to myself, well, what is it that I want to do? I mean, this is I'm going to be home with the family, but I got to do something else. I can't just do that. And I thought, well, what do I love? I love public speaking and I love traveling. So I thought, okay, well, what could I do with that? And I realized that for me, when I would advise startups and founders, they would ask me often, how have you managed to build the same business or build a business with the same co-founder and you haven't killed each other?
Right.
And I realized that was something unique that I brought to the table. And as I started to reflect on my own experience, as well as began interviewing other founders who had partners and what made them succeed or fail, I realized that there really was what I called a lot of silent suffering. And that is where, as founders and co-founders, if you're struggling in your partnership, you don't have a lot of places you can turn. Like you can't turn to your family, you can't turn really to your investors or your employees. You got to keep that strong feeling. But when you're having troubles with your co-founders, it's very quiet. And I realized I want to help founders. I want to help them build that strong partnership and avoid the conflict, hopefully. And I just began to research that. And so that's where my journey began. And about 3 years later, I wrote the book, The Co-Founder's Handbook, which really takes people from whether or not I should get a co-founder to how do I find one? What should I look for? How do I vet them? How do I formalize it? Into how do I build that partnership while we're in it? And then how do I handle struggles and how do I exit? So it really ran the whole gamut.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. It's been 13 years since I exited my last partnership, and it wasn't awesome. I think he thinks it was awesome. I don't know that I feel like it was awesome. Maybe he doesn't feel it. I don't know. It was so unawesome that after 10 years of business relationship together, it took us like 4 years to go to lunch together. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, It was the strangest thing. And I regret it. We live in the same small valley. Our kids are friends, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But like, we rarely just hang out, and I feel bad about it, but I think what you're doing is amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think going in, we are so excited about the business and the model that we wear those rose-colored glasses. We're super optimistic. And to sit down in that early stage of building the business and say to the person, well, what are we going to do if we hate each other in 6 years? How are we going to plan for that? It's a wet blanket and nobody wants to do that. So we tend to kind of, just like sometimes in a relationship, we go, oh, that'll fix itself. We'll get through that. And I'm kind of here to say, if I can get you before you even started a partnership I'm really happy because there are things that you can do to ensure that you're partnering with the right person, and then also handling the issues that might show up later, handling them before they actually happen. And so I love getting people in that very early stage, because unfortunately, Todd, you are not unique. We do.
I know.
We do. And so the statistic is that of partnerships that are formed, 65% will fail because of issues between the partners.
Is that right?
Yeah, 65%. Nothing to do with revenues, nothing to do with product breakdown, nothing to do with, runway. It literally has to do with the people at the helm look at each other and say, I can't do this anymore. So the goal is to be intentional, because that is your biggest liability in your business.
Well, it was interesting. We had our own ways of dealing with stress and the conflict, and I think every relationship has that. We usually it resulted in an all-night ping pong rally where we were just
that's a good
working. Yeah, it was actually really good. Little sting ball, whatever. But it was one of those things where we always worked through it, and we were always amicable, and we did maintain a friendship while we were partners. But at the end, it just kind of felt. I think both of us felt a little jaded. I think he was feeling unlucky that I was going off to do some other project. He was happy to take on the company and the debt and all that kind of stuff. And so we both felt like there was relief. But anyway, this isn't my therapy session. But I'm telling you, I'm jealous of what you've been able to do as a partnership. And I think those listening to this podcast, this is a huge, huge thing. I think most people go into this thing with sole focus on, I can't do it alone. I need to have this person with me. We're 50-50. Oh my gosh, can you make it any worse? How do you suggest people go through the formation of a partnership? Is it always 50-50, or is it something completely different?
Yeah, so equity is such an art. It's not an algorithm. Yes. It's a piece of art, and every business will have its own setup. One of the things that I tell people right off the bat is that you have to communicate expectation. Many times as I've talked to people, they say things like, oh, I thought they were gonna, or I presumed this. And you want to get to a point in your partnership where there is nothing to presume. You even want it in writing, and it sounds like, this is a lot of work and this is so formal. But honestly, that is your insurance policy. And so walking through co-founders on what are your expectations, and everything from who's going to take the garbage out. I've had partners who said, the guy, he just always left his dishes in the sink and it drove them batty. It's so these expectations are something that needs to be communicated. Right. And so when it comes to choosing equity and how that goes in, it is really being honest and understanding that sometimes you're going to need to leave a little something on the table in order to create goodwill and trust. That I'm not just in this to line my pockets. We're in this together as a team, and that idea of we are now together as a team, and where you end, I begin. And if you can get to that point, then you will be better equipped to build a strong partnership. But it is an art. Who brought the idea? Has anyone done some work? Right. It's an art piece. It's an art piece.
No, it is. It's an art piece, and it's a challenge, and I just, there's so many things that I did wrong in my exit from that company that, I think I just warn people when they ask me about a partnership. I'm like, I don't care how good of friends you are, you gotta figure out the expectations. You gotta, to your point, there's a lot of good lessons that you just went through there. And you've got a book on this now? Is this what's going on? I mean,
that's right.
With your co-founder business, you got the book, you got the speaking gigs, you got the... What else are you doing to help these people?
Yeah, so we have a platform called the Co-Founders Hub, which is about to launch in April. And in that platform, we do have different exercises for different stages that you're in. So the first stage, if you're looking for a co-founder, we have what I created, which is I call the self-assessment, because so many people would come to me and say, Tanis, what should I be looking for in a co-founder? Or where do I find my co-founder? And I say to them, first and foremost, you really need to do a very deep dive into who you are and what you bring to the table. And there's often factors that people don't always consider. They think, I find most people think of skill. I'm starting a tech company, so I need an engineer, or I'm opening a restaurant. CTO, or I'm opening a restaurant, so I need a chef. Yeah. And I often say there's other things, like, for example, with Stephen, what life stage are they in? Are you in the middle of, do you have a family and you can't commit 18-hour days? Maybe you want someone who's young and who has time and who's brilliant, and you want to go for someone who could put in those 18-hour days, or the other way around. So there's all these other factors. So we created the self-assessment, which walks people through all the things that you need to think about. And then at the end of that, you create a nice little list of some of the factors. Beggars can't be choosers, but there are some factors where you're going to say, this is an important piece. For me, I am big picture. I need a detailed person. Two big picture people do not come well together.
They don't.
I know that if I'm going to partner with somebody, I need that person who can stay focused, finish the job, and be detailed. And so these are the things that we help people walk through. And then our second part is for people who are in a partnership. We have what we call our discovery session. And discovery session is questions. As I interviewed people, what were the things, the expectations that they thought were going to happen and didn't? So we present 70, 80 questions that you sit down with your partner. And the goal is that once you're done that, you are ready with any set of expectations that are out there. You will have talked about it, documented it, printed it, signed it, and you have it as something that you can go back on and say, we talked about that. Should our kids be in business? What if my son wants to join the company?
Right.
Deal with that question before they say, my son is.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
Otherwise, that's emotionally charged, and you don't want to answer that question.
This sounds like version 2 of what you're going to do is a marriage help book.
It is. There's a little bit of overlap there.
Totally. Well, 25 years of marriage. We're celebrating 26 this year, so I'm right along with you there. This is good therapy for both of us. Honestly, this has been such a great conversation, and I think that for those listening, you really, really got to think about this. I mean, you've got to know your exits in your business. You've got to know the expectations of your partner or partners. Mm-hmm. You've got to understand who's carrying the weight, who's carrying the equity, who's carrying the financial risk, there's so many things to think about that people just think, we took a class with this guy. We're going to go start this business together. It's going to be awesome. No, it probably won't be. You know what I mean?
No.
And so you are nailing an amazing answer in a response of, how do I do this? And I just love this. I can't wait to read your book. I can't wait to hear about this program you're putting together. And if you are in a partnership, 100%, I think you should take this assessment as soon as she has this available, because it will change your life. I mean, we would have a monthly sit down, my partner and I, for 10 years. Every month we'd have this kind of big blowout, and it wasn't always blowout, but we knew what pain points we were each dealing with, and we'd try to help each other. Know your pain points, know your exits, know your all this stuff, and you'll be much happier in your partnership. So I love this. Thank you so much, Tanis.
Thank you, Todd. This has been amazing, and I'm excited for everyone who's listening. I think what you're doing with the podcast is going to be so helpful as they grow and scale their business. And
Thank you.
I wish the best to everyone and yourself.
Well, how do they follow you? Where are you at? Where are you active?
Yeah, so right now we're going big on LinkedIn. So you can follow me and the Co-Founders Hub on LinkedIn. We're also on Instagram as well for those who like more visual.
Awesome.
But yeah, at thecofoundershub.com or myself, tanisgeorge.com.
Awesome. Tanis, this is great. Appreciate you and all your time taken to do this with our fans today and with our followers. And we hope that this launch goes as well as your other ones.
Thank you so much.
Make it to the exit you're hoping for with this thing.
Awesome. Thanks, Todd. I appreciate it.
Okay. We'll talk to you later. And thanks to everyone for being here today. We'll see you on the next episode. Hey, thanks for sticking around. that was a fascinating interview. I absolutely loved it. Let me know below what you thought of the interview. Comments help me find better guests for my listeners. I would love to know if you thought this guest was awesome or not. I personally had a great pre-conversation, post-conversation, and I think that what she's doing right now is such a useful thing in the world of partnerships. It is not easy to navigate that world, especially if you're someone who has a marriage or a partner in your personal life. Having another partner involved in such a big piece of your life can really be hard to juggle. It's hard to juggle between the spouse, between the business partner, between your client partners, vendor partners, lots of partners. So much can be learned from this interview and so much can be learned from this person. I hope that you take some time to do a little follow-up, buy her book, check out what she's got going on with her new program, and I hope it's able to help you navigate this tricky world of partnering. Partners are essential in growth, and if you're looking to grow and scale your business, pick the right partners, whether they're vendor partners, business partners, client partners. There's so many ways to partner with people in business. You've got to learn how to do it the right way. That way it makes you happier, makes life easier, and hopefully more successful. Thanks so much for being here on the Growth and Scaling podcast. Like, share, subscribe, send this to anyone you can who needs to hear this today, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next episode.